Hello, and welcome to the Everyday Board Game Podcast with your hosts, Daniel.
And Daniel.
Hello, Daniel. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a fun weekend. Ready to get this over with. It's funny.
Get this episode over with. Jeez, I mean...
Well, yeah, because I'm about to go on vacation. There's
true.
a whole reason we're doing back-to-back double recordings.
That's true. If you were with us last week, you know that we recorded 2 episodes back-to-back. Today we're going to do another 2 because we're crazy and we do too much content.
We also like to have a bit of a bubble in our thing because you possibly might have vacation coming on.
Sure.
Or...
Yeah.
We know for a fact you can't record at the end of July because you have your gambit of birthdays.
Yep, that's very true. Yeah, there's a very unlike. I haven't checked on which days they all fall on, but there's good odds we probably won't record.
Well, by the time we get this in the next episode done, we will, when I get back from my trip, which will be at the end of July or June, I think it's like the 23rd of June when we record next.
Mm-hmm.
When I think this episode is actually going to be airing live, we'll record our first episode of the cycle of July. So we'll be 2 weeks ahead for July as well.
Very good. Well, that's what we need to do, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Summers are busy for us.
Yep.
And we're going to have to keep this bubble because, again, I'm leaving on another trip in September. I'm also leaving on another trip in August. I am busy. July is the only month I'm not doing anything, and then you have the gambit.
Yep, exactly. No, it's true. And there is a trip that I'm planning sometime, one of these weeks, sometime in the summertime, which is currently up in the air. I don't know when it's going to happen, if or maybe not. I don't know. We'll see.
And it's not the trip that him and me are planning.
Right. That's right, because we still need to plan that.
Yeah, I know.
And, whew, busy summer, right?
Because that's what I told you. Like, July is the only month I can really do it because I'm busy every other month.
Right, exactly. We're just going to have to wing it those days
Yeah.
and see what happens.
But with that being said, we have a special episode and also one last code word or phrase, actually, for you to win one of these 2 games behind us, Horrified World of Monsters or Canvas Deluxe Edition. You can win one of these. The other one will go up for a later giveaway. But listen for the code word and how to enter towards the middle of the episode.
Yeah. I mean, no spoilers or anything. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
With that being said, Daniel, our episode today, we're going to be doing a brainstorm.
Mm-hmm.
We have just recently replayed this game. This is Broom Service, and it just became the 10th anniversary of it, right?
2015 was the year it won the Kenner.
Yep.
Which is the year apparently it came out. Because we were going to try to do this for Halloween last year, and we're like, wait, it's at 9.
Do that.
Our rule is 10 years or older for not Broom Service. 10 years or older for games for Brainstorm.
Well, it applied to Broom Service as well, right?
Yeah.
You know, as long as it's at least 10 years old. It's too new if it's like that, you know. What we want to do is provide a service for the people that are curious about those games, but 10 years, it might not be in print anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is the reason why we decided to do Brainstorm, because a lot of the games that we do Brainstorm tend to be out of print. Broom Service was a very hard game for me to find. It was one of the last Kennerspiele winners I needed to pick up. Yeah. And I've been looking at it and been seeing it, but at a $150 price, I was kind of hesitant on pulling that trigger.
Yeah.
Because the game came out new, it was like $40.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
it's like nothing.
Nothing. And so when I finally saw the price drop to $50, I picked it up real quick.
Yeah. So we're going to be giving you, based on our G.A.M.E.R criteria, the 5 games that we recommend. If you have played or have been interested in Broom Service, we'll explain the 5 games that we recommend because of each of our G.A.M.E.R criteria. So we'll get into that in the later part of our episode.
Also, this was really hard.
It was.
Because what this game does, and we were talking about it a little bit before the podcast, this game has mechanisms that we're all familiar with. Kind of has trick-taking in a sense that you have to follow the leader. It has a pick-up and deliver aspect of it, which is very simple and very straightforward. I mean, Horrified behind us over here has a pick-up and deliver mechanism.
Yep.
It has multi-use card play in a sense. It's you pick your cards and see what happens kind of thing. So card action selection. It's really neat of what it does when it combines all those things. And it has a mechanism I rarely see nowadays. And most of my games are still in print. I think one of them is hard to find. Yeah. But I had to put it on the list because of It's the only one I could remember that has that mechanism we haven't talked about yet. You want to tell them what that specific mechanism is?
What the
brave,
the brave and the cowardly? Yeah. So each card has like a good side and a bad side, or not really a good and a bad, but like a really powerful ability and a lesser so. You have like one, like let's say the green forager, right? Mm-hmm. You can either get 2 green and 1 wild potion of your choice, or you can just get a single one
of the color green.
Of that color. So it's like, why would you ever choose a bad one? Well, the thing is, when you play the cowardly version, you immediately take the action no matter what, even if other people do it. Mm-hmm. But if I'm the first to play it and I play the cowardly version, then I get it. But then everybody else who has that same card in turn order has to play that card. So if somebody chooses the brave version instead, they check to see if anybody else plays the brave, because there can only be one brave character at a time.
And you could be brave and everybody else plays cowardly, but why would they not?
Yeah, right. Exactly, because the last person in turn order might just take the brave version of the action to prevent you from doing it, which would be rude.
But it also has a actual depth to that as well, because the last person could be like, you know what, I'm not going to take the brave action, because the person who took the brave action has to lead the next round or the next card.
Yeah.
And that's like, I don't want to be first because I want to take a brave action. I have a better chance of outplaying one person rather than 2 people.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's that nice little push and pull. Broom Service is such a fantastic game.
Yeah, it's really, really intriguing card play for sure.
Yeah, and so we were talking about it. This has climbed up at one of my favorite Kennerspiele winners.
Yeah.
Because I really did enjoy, Wingspan is still my favorite game out of the Kennerspiele winners. Because I was a Wingspan fan before I even really was doing the Kennerspiele stuff. But Broom Service was fantastic. But you and me had only ever played it at 2 players. We played it at 4 players, and it turned into a Damn It Daniel kind of game, because both Damn It Dom and Gamehead Geek wanted to pick up a copy as well.
And I was the one who sold it to you. Yeah. Or not sold it to you, but convinced you to buy it.
Yeah.
So it's does this count as a Damn It Danny game?
No, we discussed this. Yeah. It's not transitive.
no, it's not.
Because I showed them.
Them, and therefore they.
And in all honesty, I wasn't. It was a fine game when we played it at 2 players. But the fact that I needed to pick up the Kennerspiele is when it became more of a thing. It's like, I'm just collecting the Kennerspieles now. I need this in my collection. At the time, I didn't need it in my collection. When I decided, you know what, I like this one. And it was 2019, and it was 2020, and then 2021, where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have to pick up these Kennerspieles because they're all fantastic games so far. And that's when I decided, okay, now I have to go back and find this one. Oh, my God. You want to sell me your copy? Right. Kind of thing.
Nope. I have to keep in mind, right? But yeah, so we'll be breaking down those recommendations, and we'll explain more in detail how the game works and why we like it so much and why we're recommending these other games. Mm-hmm. But before we do that, Daniel, what have you been doing outside of gaming?
Oh, yeah, I was telling you, like, I mentioned it, I'm going on a trip, so you'll hear about that in July. This way I can, explain the entire trip for you guys. So, but just for who don't know, I'm going to Chicago. I'm going to go see the Chicago Cubs play. I'm a big baseball fan. But before we did that... We had a friend of ours who had a birthday just recently. And so we decided to hang out with them during the weekend. The original plan was we were going to have game night, and then I'd cook up something yummy and stuff like that. But then they're also like, we want to do an escape room. And I'm like, okay, so Saturday we did the normal game night, and I'm not going to be talking about any of those games.
You're not allowed to talk about those things. That's outside of gaming.
But then we went to an escape room.
Arguably still a game, but I'll allow it. Carry on.
That's not board gaming. It's outside board gaming, but...
Oh, we didn't say that.
All right, anyways, you've talked about escape rooms on here, so I don't want to hear it. So you can't contradict yourself.
Oh, cheers.
But the first thing I want to talk about on the weekend is one of the things I really do enjoy doing. And that's grilling or smoking food up. And so this is this week we did ended up grilling up some chicken and beef fajitas, which you've had before. Mm-hmm. When I did it for you, they were smoked.
Yep.
This time around, I just had to do it grilling because I had to do it in the morning before we went over. So I had to get it done quicker. The smoking takes several more hours. Grilling, it took me an hour and a half to do 5 pounds of beef and like 4 pounds of chicken or something like that.
Yeah, it's nothing.
It's nothing. It took me an hour and a half to really to get it going. But when I had to smoke that same amount, it's going to take me about 4 to 5 hours, depending on... And that's easy smoking. Like, I smoked briskets, I've smoked turkeys, that take me all day. You've had a smoked brisket that I did that took me roughly...
Like 8 or something?
Yeah, 8 hours. It was relatively a smaller brisket. I think it was only 8 or 9 pounds, something like that. And I had to start it at 4:30 in the morning. We had game day that same day, and it came off the smoker about noon, and we still had to wait another 2 hours to let it rest.
Yep. You smelled like a campfire.
I smelled like a campfire the entire day.
Yep.
But yeah, so that was fun doing that. My wife made a homemade zero sugar tiramisu that was also gluten free because our friend has a lot of allergies, but tiramisu is her favorite dessert. So it's good because I'm on a low carb diet, and then she's got all these other health issues as well. So my wife's like, "Oh, I can do this," and it came out so good, dude. It was fantastic. The tiramisu, hands down, was by far one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite desserts to begin with. But yeah, it was so good. And then finally, we did the escape room, one of the local escape rooms here in Las Cruces, and we had a blast on that one. We completed it with 15 minutes left. It was one of the ones.
Only, huh?
Yeah. Whew. Yeah, so it was an hour one. We did it with 15 minutes left. We kind of stumbled upon one of the puzzles. We noticed these things, and we started messing around with it, and all of a sudden it worked, and we're like, oh, okay. Didn't find the clue for said puzzles. We just started messing around with it.
Fiddled with things. Hey, Board Game Bard.
Yeah, fiddled with it. So yeah, all in all, this was a great weekend, especially right before my trip that's coming up. So that was kind of cool. Nice way to celebrate our friend and have a good time before we go out of town.
That's right. That's right. All right. So, outside of gaming on my end,
hi, Bard.
As all listeners of the podcast know, I'm an educator by trade. That's my main job, and so right now it's summertime. So I've been enjoying summertime. I've been on summer for, it was all of last week and now just a little bit this week.
Yeah.
And I've already made a lot of this summer so far. I've been working on cleaning my house, catching up on chores, all that stuff, cleaning and all
board
that stuff.
Board gaming, but you can't talk about that.
I've done a lot of board gaming. Can't talk about it though. No, I won't talk about it. Definitely not in our next episode. No, but so of course we've done that. But, I've gotten a chance to see people I haven't seen this week, get ahead with a lot of things, but then planning the trips, that's a big thing with me. Also
planning board gaming stuff for as a board game designer. So there's
absolutely,
big stuff there.
Which I can't talk about, and nor will I talk about.
If you're listening to us live, go visit him this Wednesday, and if you're in the Albuquerque area, go visit him this Wednesday on the, what is this Wednesday? The
Empire Board Game Cafe.
No, but what's the
Empire
date?
Library, the 11th.
The 11th of June.
Yep.
Go visit him. If you're hearing this afterwards, you can contact us on Instagram or email, and he could probably talk to you about some of the things. Maybe he can get you on the Board Game Arena or not Arena, Tabletop Simulator.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, which I'm probably actually tonight or tomorrow I'm gonna upload some stuff, but I won't talk about it because that's outside of gaming. But
we had to throw that shout out.
We had to, of course, right? And so.
And you didn't talk about it. I did.
That's right. Yeah, this is what I'm doing outside of gaming. No, like yesterday, my wife has been so busy these past few months, just with all of our travels and all this stuff that we've been doing, her work, like all of the school and all that stuff. We finally had some time to relax. So yesterday, we went and had a full family day, right? My wife has been sore lately, so she got a massage from a friend of ours, actually a listener to the podcast from time to time. And so she felt really good. So we're like, you know what? We're hungry. Let's go meander. Let's go get lunch or something. Went to lunch, one of our favorite Mexican restaurants now, El Charro. We really... Have you been there yet?
I haven't been there, but I know of it.
Man,
I know people talk about it.
It's half the price of everywhere else. And the food is just as good. It's fantastic. I love that.
I just have to be careful with Mexican food.
Sure. Yeah. There's
heavy
a lot
carbs.
of carbs.
Yeah.
A lot of carbs, yeah. I'm sure that's no different. But I love the fact that it's I can get away spending a meal and not be broke.
Well, especially since your family is there's 4 rather than
and they order
and 2 of them are teenagers.
Yes. Yeah, we all order adult meals, so us eating out is something else. But then while we're eating out, we're like, well, I don't know, we don't want to be bored all day, and we don't want to go home and clean. So what are we gonna do today? Well, because we went home actually before we went out to eat, and our power went out.
Oh, and for you who don't, for those that don't know, we live in southern New Mexico, where we're hitting triple digits now.
Yeah, we're hitting triple digits. It was definitely triple digits today. It was 103 or 104.
104.
Yeah. It was. I was out most of the day, and I felt it. But
and then you're all black
so our power went out. Well, yeah, of course, right? Our power went out, and so we're like, well, that decided. And it was less about the heat. It was more about it's dark in here. Let's go until the power comes back on. So she got a massage, and we went out to eat. And even though the power came back on, we were like, all right, well, we don't really want to go home and just like spend all the day there. But you know what? Our kids have been wanting to go swimming. Let's go swimming. So we got home, took them out to the pool. I don't have a pool. We took them to a public pool.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to figure out which one you went to because
Labs.
Labs. Where's that one at?
The outdoor. It's on Picacho.
Oh, okay, that one. Okay, yeah.
We're off Picacho. Anyway, so we brought him to that pool, and I had one of those aha moments, which I have to talk about gaming just a little bit, because one of my gaming goals this year is to play 3 or more games at their appropriate location. And I knocked one off my list. Check our Instagram, you'll see what I mean. Anyway.
Or YouTube. We have it on YouTube as well.
And, and of course, sure enough, some of my students saw me, hey, Mr. McKinley, like, they got all excited and stuff. And I was like, it's only been a week, kids. Like, you shouldn't be this excited. I'll yell at you soon enough. Don't worry. But that was silly. And then after we left the pool, we're like, well, we don't want to just be lazy around the house. So my wife started looking at her phone, and she's been really excited to go see the new Lilo and Stitch. So we got some tickets, and we had a movie night,
I've heard some things about that. We'll talk after the podcast.
Yeah, so...
Because I really like the cartoon version.
I do, too. I mean, well, I don't remember it enough, I guess, to say. Like, I like Disney. I generally like it. I didn't dislike the movie. I mean, but one of the big draws for me, and my wife agreed with it, is a couple of years ago we took a trip to Hawaii.
Yeah.
And this was filmed in Hawaii. Right, yeah. Very clearly filmed in Hawaii.
You're like, I've been there.
Yeah. And so, like, a lot of times we were like, ooh, I know that place. I know that. Like, oh, I know that's on the East Shore, isn't it? Yeah. Like, that's definitely, that makes sense that they'd be teaching surfing right out there,
Yeah.
And so... That was mainly the reason I went more than anything.
No, he was like, I've been there, I've been to that beach, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So that was good fun. Of course, it was like local, so it wasn't really like they didn't go to like the main spots of Waikiki and like shameless like promotions of stuff, like all the stores that are on the storefronts. They wouldn't have done that
for the touristy areas.
Yeah, of course, right. But they did do some of the cool things I remember pretty well. So I was like, it was a cute movie. I liked it.
Now, speaking of outside gaming, I forgot to mention to you, I just got excited. Me and my wife just scored tickets to Horror Nights while we're up in Orlando.
Ooh, nice.
And I just found out one of the haunted houses is Fallout.
That's pretty sweet. But yeah, that's it from outside of gaming. I'm 110% into full force summertime right now mode. And so, actually, tomorrow I'm taking my kids to a science museum, the one in El Paso. That just recently opened up. And
the one downtown?
Yeah.
The Noob...
La Noob, yeah.
La Noob, yeah. It's cool. It's neat.
Yep. We got tickets already, so that's good.
My thing is, I think your kids would find a kick out of it. It's more for younger audiences.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. That's one of our traditions, is every summer we go to the museums and stuff.
No. I just let you know that...
Excuse.
They're because they're older.
Well, it's a little late now, Daniel.
I just let you know because I've been there.
Fine. It's fine.
And I don't have kids.
Yeah, no, it's fine. That's why you can't appreciate it.
No, I appreciate it because we kidnapped our friends' kids.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah, and it's funny because I make the joke that we kidnapped our friends' kids for my wife can play with all the science equipment.
So that way she doesn't look as strange. So like, oh no, there's kids over there anyway. Let me play centrifugal forces. I love them.
No, it's neat what it does. I like what it does. But there's gonna be a lot of little.
We've been to a lot of those. Like those style ones. There's an amazing one in Omaha, Nebraska.
I can't say much because like when we go to Chicago, we go to the freaking zoos and aquariums. So.
Oh yeah, you're gonna go to all the same thing, right? Yeah. So yeah, I'm 110% in summertime mode. That's what I do.
Nice. I'm enjoying summer. I'm hating the heat. I've never been a big fan of the heat.
Of course not.
It is ridiculous. I like the grilling, but mind you, grilling is 24 or like 365 days for me. I will smoke anything outside, even if it's snowing. And in fact, I've done it before. It's snowing outside, and I'm smoking a turkey on the smoker.
There is no stopping this man.
Nope.
Not when it comes to him and his grill.
It's probably why I'm so heavy nowadays.
I thought you just took up smoking. That's why you smell this way. It just seeps into your port.
But with that being said, before we get into today's episode, we have a giveaway for you. You have the ability to win one of these 2 games here. You choose which one, and the other one will go for a giveaway somewhere down the line. The 2 games are Horrified World of Monsters in Canvas, the Deluxe Edition, from the most recent Kickstarter. How can they enter?
So every person has a chance to get 10 tickets, right? 10 tickets. There's a number of ways to do that. We're going to list them all off right now. But the code word is going to be one of your biggest friends. First off, twitch.tv/everydayboardgames. This is where we stream our episodes live. And we have our friends like Board Game BARD hanging out with us right now. And anybody else who tunes in during this. If you follow us on there so you get notified when we go live, then you'll automatically, even if you don't show up for the episode, you're automatically getting the ticket because you're following us and you get that notification.
Yep.
Secondly, if you follow us on YouTube or subscribe to us on YouTube, then you get notified when we upload videos normally, if you have the bell on, or if you comment, all that stuff. Either way, we're going to be in your feed a little bit, and that's what we want to see. If you're subscribed to us, that gets you a free ticket. Thirdly, we have an Instagram, instagram.com/everydayboardgames. And if you follow us on Instagram, you can see ridiculous posts that him and I make, and what he's been playing. I mean, I'm there too sometimes, but I don't post all the. You guys would be so sick of our feed if you saw all the games I played. But anyway, I post ridiculous stuff. Go follow us there. That gives you a free ticket as well. So those are 3 ways to get free tickets. There's another way to get tickets on twitch.tv/everydayboardgames, is that if you subscribe to us, that is a financial transaction. It throws us a few bucks every time, and that way it helps us run the podcast, helps us host the.
You can even use your Twitch Prime.
Yep, if you have Amazon Prime, you have a free Twitch subscription, so you can subscribe to us there, and you'll get 3 tickets from that again. Again, you don't need purchase necessary. It just helps.
It helps us out.
Yeah, and then finally, every one of these last episodes, including today and the last 3, we have given a code word per episode. If you email us at everydayboardgames2020@gmail.com with our code word, which we'll be providing to you shortly, in the subject line, put contest, and in the body, put our code phrase or code word and a way to contact you. That enters you in a ticket, and you may do that one for each of these past 4 episodes, including today's episode. So, with that being said, Twitch, subscribe to us on Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, email. That's all the ways you can get tickets, up to a total of 10. Daniel, what's today's code word?
The code phrase is special delivery.
So remember that, special delivery. Email us everydayboardgames2020@gmail.com. Alright, so today's episode, we have a board game brainstorm about Broom Service. We talked a little bit about that at the beginning of the episode. Let's talk about what Broom Service is.
Oh man, this game is... It's a sum of all its parts. It's what it is.
Yeah.
It's a pick up and deliver. It's a kind of multi-use card game. More like a card selection, action selection game.
Yeah.
It is got a trick-taking, follow-the-leader mechanism into it as well. And what you're doing is it's a conglomeration of persons, or a group of witches, trying to deliver potions to towers. And how you do that is by either playing your cards as cowardly, and you only get 4 of your, I think it's like 9 cards, if I remember correctly. 4 of your 9 for every round. And you got to hope the other people don't play those cards. And you can either play them cowardly or brave. And that is the hook of this game, is because if you play it cowardly, you get a weaker action, but you still get to take that action, especially if you're in the early part of a turn order.
Yes.
Or you can take the push your luck aspect of this game and take the risk and play it at brave, because you're going to get a more powerful action. But if someone else in turn order plays brave, you get nothing. And so there's that little push and pull. If somebody else plays brave, it's like, do I go brave now, even though I'm early in the order, and possibly not get anything? And I actually did that risk recently. I was like, it's my last card. If I get it, I get it. If not, it's not going to hurt me in any way. So I'm going to play this brave and see what happens, even though I was starting the turn order. And it took, I think, Gamehead Geek to take it away from me, because he was the guy next to me. And I'm like, it was a risk. I almost got it. What can you do?
Yeah.
But it's also another thing about playing the brave and cowardly. You can choose to not play brave if you're later in the turn order. You're like, cowardly, I just need the potion. I don't care. And I'm making you go first next time around. And that could be a very important decision. So, like I said, this game is the sum total of its mechanisms that make it really sing with what it does.
We call it kind of a pick up and deliver game, even though it's not quite, because there's no
you're not picking up. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, playing a card to get the potion, sure, but you're not really, I mean, I guess you're picking them up, so it's kind of a pick up and deliver, but kind of also not. It's kind of a trick-taking game, but also kind of not.
Yeah.
It's kind of, like order fulfillment but kind of not, right?
You know what it kind of reminds me of is another Kennerspiele winner.
But kind of not.
In Istanbul.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's got all of these little things,
Yeah.
but it's not like any of these other things.
Yeah, describing it as the generic board game terms, like, oh, it's a worker placement game, doesn't do it justice.
Yeah.
Into what it's like, yeah, it technically is.
And it's like we talk about it with Istanbul too. It's kind of a pick and deliver, but you're not really delivering anything other than family members that give you the action selection part of where you're landing, that kind of thing. Broom Service is along that lines. Pick up and deliver, sort of, because you're getting potions, but you got to use the gatherer to get yourself a potion. That's how you pick up a potion. And they have to be in this specific region for them to pick up said potion.
Exactly.
So it's really interesting how it does. It's got this mechanism, kind of. It's got this mechanism, kind of.
Yeah.
That's why it made it so hard to make my list.
Yeah, this list, I even went at one point and watched the Dice Tower review for Broom Service. Even though we had just played it, I'm like I need to see what they were saying about it. And I sat in my game room just like looking at the games. I'm like, I mean, that could, well, you know, it's so unique in a way that I feel like a lot of these ones are pretty close.
There's one that popped in my head because I remember our play of it. And it's been a while since I played it, that I had to go watch a YouTube video on how that plays. I'm like, yes, I remember that now. Yeah. Because there's the only game on my list that I think is hard to find right now. In fact, I told my wife if she found one, to pick it up for me. Okay. We'll get to it here in a little bit.
Yeah, normally I wonder if it's a crossover, because I do have one that's weirdly specific.
Yeah, so we'll see. But with that being said, let's get into our first category, game immersion.
All right, here we go. Game immersion. So game immersion breaks down into 3 sub-criteria. Is the game fun to lose? Player interaction, whether it's table talk or role-playing, or memorable moments. This has a lot of ties to like the theming and like the setting of the game, like and just how you feel while you're playing it. One of the big things about this is that in Broom Service, you feel either brave or cowardly. Like, I know it says it on the cards, but you feel it. Yeah. Especially if in us 4 that we played it. Like there was one quarrel that we had that I shook my head out of disgust for my friend, our friend Dammit Dom. And you guys took that as he passed, like he doesn't have to come. I'm like, no, I do. And you're like, no, you shook your head. It's like, no, that's not what, and that was like the first target. Like, let's all be clear on what we're doing here. If we verbally say I'm passing. No, but what I mean by that is that with this game, if you have the same action that somebody just played, you have to play it. And there's times where you will be playing this action out of sequence of what you are planning to do. So at the beginning, you have all 10 cards to choose from. You choose 4 of them. And those are the only 4 you go into that round with. So if you play the Green Forager, like how we talked about, and I have one, I have to play it even though I didn't want to play it right now. Yeah. Or a lot of them are like moving around the map. I don't have a way to move to a yellow district or a yellow area. I was planning on playing that after the green area, but you led with the yellow, and now I can't do anything about this, right? And so there's a lot of this, like, how dare you? But my favorite part about that is, let's say I'm second in turn order. You play down the Green Forager, and you play it as cowardly. I'm like, okay. Brave. And I have to hope that the next 2 do not have it. And so there's this moment of I play a card, and I go, okay, all right, good. And then when everyone goes, nope, don't have it. Yep. Oh, phew. And there's only one other game that I've seen that does that so well. And this, if we have a crossover, this might be it. This is Cabenga. And I felt like every time we play Cabenga has that same moment where you sit down a card and you're like...
I didn't even think of Cabenga, but this is a good pick.
Yeah, I was like, because it feels that same level of intensity. This is that, like, player interaction.
Or what is it, the Hasbro line now? It's going to be called Snailed It?
Snailed It, yeah. I mean, just the fact that you play a single card, or is it Beat the Heat? No,
Beat the Heat 6 nipped.
6 nipped, yeah. So I play a card, and in Cabenga, what you're doing is you're trying to play cards that are close together in 2 different discard piles. So if there's a 15 there, and I have a 13 in my hand of that color, I can play it down. But the thing is, the gap that you leave open, if anybody else has that, they can go Cabenga and throw their card at you, thus having 1 fewer card for them, and 1 more card that you have to now draw into your hand, worth points, and you don't want points. Mm-hmm. And every turn, like, you play a card, and you just look nervously around at everybody as they go, No, we're good. You can carry on. It's fine. Like, and it's like I'm asking you permission almost. It's like
that was a good pick. I didn't think of this, but that was a good one.
That's why I put it for cave immersion. I mean, almost for nothing else. It's not an action selection. It doesn't play similar. It just has that really heavy feel. So if you want something, if you have a group that plays Broom Service or has been interested in Broom Service, but don't want that that level of depth, but want that same reaction, Kabanga is what I would recommend for you.
All right, so my game immersion pick doesn't really fit the player interaction because there's only one player in the game, but you really get into this game. It is a solo game. But this is also a fun game to lose. You don't care much for it. You found it okay at best. But I think because it has almost that brave and cowardly action aspect of this game, and it follows the theme of witches. This is Witchcraft from 25th Century, and I believe Salt and Pepper Games, if I'm not...
I didn't dislike it.
But what I like about it, though, is... One, it plays way better than Resist. I also played the other one that does this, which is Resist. It's not as punishing as Resist. Resist feels like you're just getting beat over the head.
Yeah.
Witchcraft has that good theme on it. It has that mechanism where you're playing either brave or cowardly in this case, but in the game here, it's called being revealed as a witch or keeping hidden as a witch. And the revealed is a much better power, but you lose that card throughout the rest of the game. And you have to meet a certain threshold to win over these jurors to make sure your witches don't die. And my big gripe about this game is the Lost Villagers. I could have beaten it when I played it, but I pulled all three of the 2 Village Lost Souls, and whenever you hit 5, you lose the game.
Yeah.
My third card that got pulled turned out to be another 2. It was like straight 2, 2, 2, and went to 6. But all in all, I did like it. I do like how it has that brave and cowardly. One of the few games that has that kind of... If you do that at this action, it gives you something really powerful, but then you lose this card.
Yep.
Or you do this, and it's not as powerful, but it's still a good action, and you're using all these to fight these monsters and stuff like that. I also like the fact that you can beat a card, and if it's a familiar, it can help you as you're going through the game. You didn't get that in Resist. So you have some sort of mitigation that helps you throughout the game as well, which gives you a little bit more power. I like the fact that you can play your powers out before you decide where you're going to go. Like if I'm going to play the hidden or the revealed, I get their powers, and then I find out where I'm going, and then I have to play out the rest of my hand. And so I liked what it does. I love the artwork on this too, so this could have easily been an art production too. But for my pick is a solo game, Witchcraft.
Cool. That's not a bad pick at all. All right, art and production is our next category. And I'll be starting this off again. Art and production. We talk about the art, which is obviously subjective, pieces and components, and graphic design. Now, the art's not great for Broom Service. It's fine. It's
an older game. So.
Yeah, it's a little bit older of a game, which is always fine. The pieces also are not great.
They were cool for its time because they look like little witches.
Little witches are your pawns. Those are cool. The potions aren't distinct in any way, but they are.
The colors are a little hard too.
Colors are a little hard because they picked orange, green, and purple. Which
and the green and orange are a little
they're a little close for us because they're colorblind. But the art on there, it's if I'm not mistaken, I think it's Vincent Dutrait art.
I think so, yeah.
We can double check it later, but yeah, the art's fine. The art is mainly on the cards, and so this one, I wanted a game that is unique but also had similar components. I mean, one of the reasons they made these components in Broom Service, because you could have a super mega deluxe version of it with minis and all that stuff. They kept it simple. They made it so it was a $40 easily accessible game. Mm-hmm. Not expensive, decent components, lots of modular parts of it. But it utilizes those small wooden pieces. Vincent Dutrait, that's what I thought. It uses the small wooden pieces to a good effect in the game. Mm-hmm. It's very clear like what you're doing and why you're doing it. So I found a game that's heavily reliant on a board. Uses wooden tokens on the board to great effect as this one does. And it's also a pick up and deliver game. But it's cooperative. This is Switch and Signal by Cosmos. And so this one has little green and red discs that are on the board.
We totally went way different on this.
We totally went way different. The art itself is fine. At first glance, you look at the cover, you're like, okay, fine. You know, it looks kind of generic, right? But then when you hear about the unique part of it, that'll bring you in. Switch and Signal, the unique part about that is that it's a cooperative pick up and deliver, which is a pretty rare thing. What you're trying to do is you're trying to switch the signals in a way where your train can move as far as it can without running into the red lights. You need it to go clear through the paths and get to its locations the best and most efficient way possible. Now, that's true for most pick up and deliver games, but the fact that this is cooperative makes it really into the theme. And since this is a cooperative pick up and deliver, technically, I wanted to include this with, if you also like pick up and deliver, technically, from Broom Service, I thought this was a good comparison.
Okay.
This is my Hear Me Out, is what this one is. But yeah, that's why I picked it.
I think my Hear Me Out is a little bit later, but this is not that far off in my art and production too.
No, I think this is pretty standard for what.
My art and production game is not pick up and deliver. It is smart card play, though, where everybody has the same cards in their hands, and it's just when they decide to play it in a certain thing. And I had to put it in the art and production because this company is known for their art and production. This is Stonemaier Games' version of Libertalia, Winds of G.A.M.E.R.
We very much went different, didn't we?
Yeah. I went really heavy on the art and production value of this game. But what I did with this one, it has
beautiful game.
Yeah, beautiful game. And it's got very unique card play in this one because you're all playing the same cards. One person is basically drawing up the deck and what you're going to play through in that day.
Yep.
And what I like about it too, it's kind of dependent upon what you played. If you and me play the same card, depending on where our character is on the reputation track is where it gets loaded up.
Yeah.
But it could both be beneficial for us to be lower on the reputation track or higher on the reputation track, depending on when that card activates. Because if it's activating during the day, it's going from left to right. So if you play a lower number card and it starts from left to right, that's good for me if I have a higher reputation because then I'm going to be first. But if I have a lower reputation, I'm going to be next in line. And if it's a card that triggers at night, which allows me to go for treasure more so, then maybe it behooves me to be a less reputable pirate.
Sure.
So it's really neat how it works. It has
pirates of ill
repute.
Ill repute.
But it has some really good stuff. It's a fun game. Paulo Mori, we're big fans of what he's been doing lately.
Yeah, we very much like Paulo Mori's
If
stuff.
you don't like the art style of Libertalia from Stonemaier, if you can find a copy of the older version, which is like the Pirates of the Caribbean style look, then go ahead.
Grungy pirates,
I liked this one better, and it's streamlined a little bit better from what I remember from the original gameplay in this one. And also, I love the little treasure scoring thing, where it's so much easier to keep track of what my points are based on the little treasure chest dials. Fantastic production value. Libertalia, Winds of G.A.M.E.R.
Very different. Yep. Next one is Meaningful Choice. That'll be me again. All right. So Meaningful Choice talks about the impact on other players' strategy, skills, whatever, the depth of your own tactic, strategy, or skills, and do arbitrary choices or AP make an impact negatively on the game. This one that I picked is... So I stuck with the fact that I don't think Broom Service is a board game. Like, I mean, it is. But it's really kind of not. It's really a clever... Again, it's technically a board game, but really it's a card game, right?
It's a card game.
It's a clever card game.
But you need the board.
So anyway, you're not wrong. Again, we've been over this. It's technically a pick up and deliver. So no, this is a contract fulfillment kind of game, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to get certain potions to fulfill certain orders and or to fulfill putting them in the castles, right? And,
Towers.
Yeah, sure. Towers, yes.
They're called the Wizard Towers.
Okay, yes, sure. Again, it doesn't matter in the game. My point being is that it's clever card play is where I was going with this. So I wanted a game that was kind of like a pick up and deliver card game. And those don't really happen all that often. But I found one that has a lot of multi-use cards, has really cool depth in it, and you are fulfilling your contract and delivering passengers to where they need to go. And the action you take gives you those passengers, a la similar to Broom Service.
I think I know what this one is.
Location.
This is the one you and Dammit Dom played on the side, right?
Yes, it was. This is Isle of Trains, All Aboard. And this is from Seth Jaffe. I don't remember the company that publishes it, forgive me. It's kind of a newer company.
Yeah.
But this is a fantastic game. I was really impressed with it, and I really liked how smart you had to play to play the right actions at the right time in order to get what you need before your opponents get to do the same. There's so much going on and such a tight, condensed place, but you have to rely on your clever card play. Doing certain things will help get you other cards, but they might not be beneficial elsewhere. You might try to get certain passengers because you want to deliver to the spot, but only if you get the right cargo can you deliver to the spot. And you can actually load up other people's cargo and benefit them, but it also benefits you because you get bonus actions from their card. It's really cool. Like, it's that push and pull of, like, I know I want to do this, and the timing is right, but I don't have enough. Should I benefit you enough where I can do this? And will that bite me in the butt later on? I love that idea. It's distilled down. That's what that cowardly or brave option is, right? In the tiniest of choices, like, if I do brave right now, you might be able to do it instead. Do I do it now or not? Whereas sometimes you'll know that they don't have the stuff to do, and you're like, all right, cool, it's my turn, let's go, time to shine, boom, 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 combo, combo, combo. I love it. So it gives a lot of the same meaningful choice. There's same level of depth. You're impacting the other players the same way, and since it's multi-use cards and kind of like a card-based system, yeah, I love card games like this that reduce the downtime because you're playing it out in your head. You're like, all right, I should do this, and I should do this, and I should do this. And you're not playing the game out here on the board. You're playing the game right in here. And that's where it helps take away from the arbitrary choice in the AP.
All right. So my pick for me, I haven't played that game, so I can't really make a decision on that.
Yeah.
My choice for a meaningful choice, you have played this one. We played it together, and if you go to our last episode, we were talking about letdowns. We played it at the same time. We played one of our biggest letdowns, your number one letdown at that. And this is another Pfister game. So Broom Service is a co-designed by Alexander Pfister with Andreas Pelikan, whereas Oh My Goods is a Pfister game.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
And the reason
I forgot about Oh My Goods.
And the reason I picked Oh My Goods is the only other game I can remember that had the brave and cowardly action.
Yeah.
But this one had the sloppy, inefficient action where you put your worker over there and they play sloppy or efficient. If you play efficient, you get 2 goods for whatever building you're trying to set off. Or if you play sloppy, you don't have to use as many resources, but you only get 1 good for that building.
Yep.
This is the one I had to make sure, because I'm like, I remember it did something like that, so I had to watch the video just to remember, because it's been years since we went to that thing and we played this one. This is what I'm trying to pick up, I just haven't found it for a bit.
Yeah, it's hard to find.
Yeah. It's got multi-use cards. What I like you were talking about switching tracks, or what not, Isle of Trains.
Or Isle of Trains,
yeah. Where it's got the multi-use cards. I love that aspect, because the cards are the things that can give you goods. It could be the things that are going to set up goods. They can also be used for the building that you're going to try to set up to help you get more resources out there. So I love that aspect of it, and I like how it plays over a set amount of rounds. And then you're basically putting 2 good piles that everybody can use until you get so many suns or something like that. I loved everything about what this game did. I do need to pick it up because it looks really neat again. It's like, I remember this, and I remember the sloppy and the worker, and I'm like, because we mentioned it when we were taking it, it's like kind of like Broom Service, where you have to play either the cowardly or the brave action. It doesn't really behoove you to worry about the other player on that aspect, but it's like, if I don't have the resources coming out, I need to place my worker coward or sloppy, because I have to discard stuff if I don't get the resources that I need if I play it on the brave action. So it's like, okay, I need another weed over here. I need to get rid of a weak card in my hand to pay for that one that I didn't get out of these 6 cards that got flipped over. I think this is a fantastic game. I think this is one of the better Pfisters. I think Broom Service and Oh My Goods are my 2 favorite Pfister games, and I played quite a few. Yeah. So, but yeah, these are his smaller, more fun games are his best games. Like, we played Great Western Trail. I like the game, but it's nowhere as classy as something like Oh My Goods or Broom Service is. So
yeah, I'm really curious to try the El Paso version.
Yeah,
I really am.
It looks interesting. We're not that far from El Paso, and I know you've been trying to get us to go down there for with you lunch. I told you it's good. It just has to be after I get back.
No, I know. Same here.
With that being said,
I'm just curious about it because I know I didn't like Great Western Trail that much.
Yeah, you didn't feel it was streamlined.
But this is supposed to be like a simplified version of it. And a lot of people are like, well, if I like the original game, why would I play a simplified version? It takes away all the fun. I'm like, well, then maybe that's for me.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. We'll see.
But yeah, my meaningful choice is Oh My Goods.
All right, so now we have ease of play.
All right, I finally get to start. Ease of play, we're talking about the simplicity and familiarity of the mechanism. The likelihood to get to the table, i.e. the mechanism or the theme, and is it easy to learn, understand, and or teach? So the game I picked on this one is one of the prettiest games I have on my list because you can never go wrong. Even the boring, bland Euro version of this game is pretty good looking and very simple too. And so both of them can get to the thing. It is the second of a series of games that can intertwine with each other. The one I picked here was Century Golem Eastern Mountains, because this is our Eastern Wonders, which is I think the Euro version. The reason why I picked it because it's real simple. You move your thing to the next tile. Yep. And you either put out a warehouse, or you can move further if you're going to spend gems to move further. And you spend a gem if you're going to put a tower out there, unless you're the first one there. Then it's free for you. But the next person who wants to put a cottage or whatever it is, a warehouse there, has to spend a gem to put there based on how many houses are there. Yeah. And then you can use the power at that location, whether it's turning 4 yellow into a green, or spending 1 green to turn them into 4 different colors and stuff like that. So it's really neat how it works. It does a lot of what the Century game does, except for it's not card play. It's just where you land, you get to do that power if you have a cottage there. And all you're doing is trying to collect these gems and take them over to the corner pieces to collect the golems there. And you turn in those gems and you get your golems. And I think it's like the first person to 4 golems or something like that win the game. Very straightforward, very simple. Any of these Emerson Matsuuchi Century games are very straightforward and simple. And then this could have easily gone into replay value because you could intertwine them with the other 2 in that set, however you want to do it. They have rules for putting 1 to 2 together, 1 to 3 together, 2 to 3 together, or all 3 together. So it's really neat how they do that. But it's a very straightforward, simple, easy game.
Cool. So I've always considered the Broom Service in a weird way. Like we always say it's like this, but kind of like we say it's tree taking. But one of the aspects of Broom Service, I think it gets overshadowed. It in a way, it's actually a programming game, right? Because you're trying to you have 10 different actions you can choose from, and you only choose 4 per round. And the way people play determines what order it gets played in. And it's a really bizarre kind of like almost a programming game. So when I thought of ease of play, I wanted to pick something that was like, a multiple choice programming game. And I could have gone the real obvious routes like Robo Rally or, one of those, and I didn't. Because I picked
not
this
really
one.
That easy either.
No, the reason I picked this one is because you have a hand of cards, and I think you have 7 of your 10 total or something like that, or 6 of your 10 total, and you, one after the other, are playing these action cards. Most of the time you'll play it face up where everyone can see it.
Is this the one I think you're picking?
Maybe it's another train game.
Oh, never mind then.
All right, so you're playing cards out, and one by one, and sometimes you'll have to play them face down, so you don't know where people are going. But you're maneuvering your meeple to run around up and down on top or bottom, or shooting people, or manipulating train, or picking up bags. I knew you were going to hate this one. I know you don't like it. This is Colt Express.
We're going to have to talk about this in August.
Yeah, we are. No, but I mean, this is honestly why I thought about this, is because, in a way, it's like a first programming game. And the way I would teach Broom Service to anybody, because it's not something that's intuitive. So understanding how to teach, understand, or learn it, the way I would approach it to teach people is like, look, pick 4 cards at random, and we're going to just try this. We're going to do a fake round, and then it'll be clear as to what you're doing and what you're trying to do as we're playing that round. And that would make it way more clear than trying to explain it. Now, we have all played it. Our group mostly had played it. The other 2 are big gamers, so we weren't too worried about it. But if I was showing this at our shop, I would have to just do a practice round just to show people the idea, instead of going, hey, this is how this is supposed to work.
By the way, it won a Kenner, not a Spiel.
That's true, yeah. It is why it won a Kenner. But Colt Express, though, is the same aspect. It's one of those ones where it's like, the programming doesn't make sense as to what you're doing and why you're doing it, and how you're seeing how everybody's responding to each other. I would literally tell them, all right, well, let's do this randomly and let's see how this works. And I'm going to show you a fake round, and then we'll reset, we'll restart it over again, and then play it out. And then that's where it clicks to people. And now, I know you don't like it, and that's fine. You hate the 3D trains, and you hate that programming part of it.
The programming is not a problem. They didn't make it big enough for you to put your fat fingers in to get your stuff.
Yeah, no, I get that. Maybe I'll make like a Super Mega Deluxe version.
There you go.
Full model trains, and you're like, oh, your hand is the size of the meeple. You know, shunk, shunk. But that's why I thought this made sense. Like, because the same kind of people who would like Broom Service would probably like something like, you know, train heisting. That sounds fun. You know, it's a silly theme. Simplicity and familiarity with the mechanism. It's not fundamentally simple. Like that clever card play is like almost a programming action selection thing. That's not fundamentally simple. So that's that same level. And then also I would teach it in the same way. That's why I picked it. So that's my Colt Express. That's my ease of
Another
play.
one we went really different with. I'm like,
Very
you
much
just
so.
move your piece and do whatever it says there if you have your tip there. Real simple.
Yep.
You were like, oh no, I have to teach them a practice round before they can play the game.
Well, I feel like once people get that idea and once they see what their cards can do, they're like, oh, okay, I can be more clever with this than I thought.
I don't disagree with what you're saying. It's
Yeah.
just like...
I know, I'm not convincing you to enjoy it, though. All right, last one is replay value.
Back to you.
All right, so replay value has 3 categories. First of all, it's length of time and scaling well. That's how many players can it play and how long does it take for that scaling. And then likelihood to get to the table, and minimum number of plays for the full experience, and expandability. Now, Broom Service has a lot of modular expansions that are built into the game that you can take in or out as you want, like more advanced clouds, a different size board, or a different sided board. There's even, I think there's an expansion for it.
There is an expansion, but it's hard to find.
Yeah, it's super hard to find, right? But again, the replay value isn't so much about how the game works. It's about the number of different modular things you could do or you can add into it, and the clever card play. So I wanted a modular card game that, again, makes you feel clever in that. And I also wanted it to be very reliable on how people play, and in what way they play determines how it works. So this is Trickster Champions in Time. And I at first thought of Little Devils. Like, because I was like, yeah, it's super reliant. Like, the first person, they could play whatever, right? It's the second player that it starts to matter. Yeah. And so I was like, man, Trickster really kind of does that. It's by Daniel Salas and Renegade Games. And the idea is it's kind of a trick-taking game. Isn't it?
Yeah, no. It is. I was thinking of the...
It might be Action Phase. I don't remember. It's one of those.
Action Phase, I think.
Yeah, but it's a trick-taking game from Daniel Salas, friend of the podcast. And it's interesting how it works, because the way it works is that I'm going to play a character, and they'll have a color on them. And the next player will either play the same character, but a different color, or the same color, but a different character, or neither is true. So they're different on both, because there's no duplicate cards, so you can't be the same one. So if the next player plays the same color, but a different character, then everyone else has to continue playing the same color card, but a different character, until there's a point where somebody can't play, and then they're penalized. And that's really cool, like knowing, like, hey, if I'm going to play the Brave version, that might not matter. Like, I might be able to get the Brave version, I might be able to get the benefit, so long as nobody else does.
Yeah.
So I really like that. It scales about the same length of time. They're both a little longer, but I mean, it's a card game, but they play a pretty large range of people. 3 to 5, I think, for both. I might be wrong on the Trickster, but I think it's 3 to 5. And then minimum number of plays, just because you have all that modular stuff that can go in and out. Trickster Champions of Time has a whole bunch of different cards you can mix in and out of it each time.
Yep.
And even though that I don't think that there's expansions for Trickster, again, that replayability is built into it. So that's why I picked Trickster. What do you think about that one?
It's fine.
All right.
It's fine. No, I like Trickster a lot, but also it's hard for me to really give love to Trickster because I love Little Devils.
Right. I love how elegant it is.
Yeah. So my replay value pick is my Hear Me Out. This is a co-op game. The length of time is a lot longer than what Broom Service does.
Okay.
It does have a ton of expansions, and it's going to get harder to find a lot of this stuff too. And the one I picked here, minimum number of plays for the full experience, well, if you get all these expansions and just out of the base game, you're going to have a lot to choose from. And this is Spirit Island. And the reason I went with this one is because it has that clever card play where you're like, do I choose this card to do that fast action to allow me to set you guys up to play your cards in a way that it's going to help you benefit us later on as we're going, for you guys can take care of that civilization over there, or these guys that are coming over here. I'm all about trying to set you guys off by this guy, this character that I'm using. But you're all about, you need stuff more on the coast. So if you guys can push the guys over here, if you're using like the wave god or something like that, you guys need to push these guys over here for my waves can wash them out to sea and stuff like that. And so it has that clever card play you get with Broom Service. But it's more so because your clever card play comes in the thing where you have to work with your other members of the team to be very efficient at what you're doing in this game. Now, it is a longer game, especially when you get into the higher player counts.
Yeah,
I think
it very much has.
Honestly, what you should do is get Horizons of Spirit Island, the 1 to 3 player game. That is the perfect one for everybody to start with, because it synergizes a lot better in that aspect. But you have to have that clever card play. You have to be smart at how you're working. And then once you integrate into Spirit Island and stuff like that, there's 4 expansions, and you
there's
can
a bunch. You have the base game, you have Jagged Earth, you have Feather and Fire, you have
Horizons of Spirit Island, which can integrate.
There's so many.
So you have a lot of playability. Just out of the base box itself, you have 8 characters or something like that, 6 or
something like that.
There's enough in there where it's going to feel different every time you play it. You're going to synergize how you learn how to play your cards, but then the next time you play is like, okay, how do I learn these cards? And so it gives you a lot of that, and I like it because of that clever card play that you get from Broom Service. It's like, do I take this as a fast action and spin what I need to do that? Oh, wait, no, my character gives me a free fast action. So therefore, I can spin this one, and then that gives you guys a bonus fast action or more power to use your ability, so I can give you this resource for you guys to spin to do your thing. I like that aspect of it, and that's why I was like, okay, this has to go on the list. But again, it's a hear me out on this one, because it's mainly just because of that fantastic card play.
Yeah.
So Spirit Island is my replay value.
You and I both focus on the clever card play. We just took it in opposite ways.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, I couldn't have been more opposite on that.
Oh yeah. Well, I think we're opposite in pretty much. Yeah, I was like, your what was it? Your art and production was complete opposite to my Libertalia.
I did have 3 train games, so I'll give it that.
Well, you love your train games for some reason.
Apparently I do. I didn't think I was that big of a fan of train games, but apparently I do. All right, well, that was a silly episode, but hopefully that'll give you some recommendations on future games you can look into. If you like Broom Service, that could be for different reasons. That can give you some recommendations.
Yeah.
Again, check out our older episodes, and you can see what you align with Daniel or I, and based on our opinions, you can kind of coast that way. But either way, with that being said, we have an email, everydayboardgames2020@gmail.com. Remember, entering our contest, we gave out the code phrase special delivery today, and email us there, contest in the body line, or contest in the subject line. In the body, put that code phrase and a way to contact you if you win. Also, Instagram.com/everydayboardgames. Like us there, or can you like it? Yeah, I guess you can like it.
Yeah, you can like it.
Follow us there, get notified when we make silly posts.
As well as all video re-uploads and reviews are found on our youtube.com/@everydayboardgames. And if you like what we do, there are 3 things you can do to help us grow on the platform. Subscribe, which gives you a ticket. Like the video and comment down below and tell us your thoughts on the subject.
We also stream our episodes live at twitch.tv/everydayboardgames. Come join us for our live episodes. And again, if you subscribe there, that helps us run the podcast and it gives you 3 additional tickets. But either way, just follow us. Get notified when we go live and join in on the chat. We love having conversations during this episode.
And all audio versions can be found on most podcast platforms under Everyday Board Games Podcast. This includes Spotify, Amazon Music, Podbean, and Apple.
So we want to thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I've been your host, Daniel.
And I've been your host, Daniel.
And we want to thank you for listening to Everyday Board Games.
And remember, every day is a good day for board gaming.